What's going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. There's a lot of news to catch up on, so let's just roll that intro, get straight into it. So I told you all I would keep you up to date with all the latest news, trades, free agency, all that off-season stuff. So let's start off with the biggest news piece at the moment. Jamie Elliott has re-signed with us for 2 years, knocked back a bigger offer from Brisbane yesterday night, and he also knocked back Melbourne's offer a couple of nights ago, which, you don't blame him, it's Melbourne. Who wants to play for that rabble of a club anyway? But seriously, he knocked down Brisbane. Brisbane were offering him 3 years, so obviously more money than we were. We did offer him 2 years with an improved dollar amount. I was reading a couple of weeks ago that we were offering about $350 to $400 in that sort of price range. We did up it to $500,000 to keep him there. So he did extend his contract for 2 years, and it's just amazing news. I was a bit skeptical that he would stay, and I didn't want to post anything or talk about it until Collingwood came out and said it themselves, which they did this morning, and I was just over the moon. We know how good Jamie Elliott is. He has had his injury setbacks. He looks to have gone over those this year. He did go down with a hamstring for a couple of weeks, if my memory serves me correctly. But he hit peak form towards the end of the season, and let's get that form into 2020, and he could be one of the most important cogs in our machine next year for that premiership tilt. So Sam McClure has come out today with a piece that said Essendon are chasing Mason Cox. Now, Cox is contracted till 2021 with us, and apparently from all reports he's on really good money, so who knows if, Essendon can even match it, because you would have to match it. He's not going to play for less. But let's break this rumour down a little bit. Essendon at the moment, according to his report, is offering a future draft pick. So not something in this window, but something in next year's window. And it's not going to be a first round draft pick. It'll probably be an early second round, if that. So, like I just said, let's break it down a little bit. Mason Cox, does he have a place in our team at the moment? He does. Second ruckman, big forward. But what happens if we bring in Josh Jenkins like people have been saying we will? Josh Jenkins takes that full forward spot. So Cox, can't really play through there. We've got Mychek as well as that centre half forward. Second ruck, we got Darcy Cameron coming in. He's declared that he wants to come to Collingwood. So what does that leave Cox? Does Cox say to himself that Essendon have more job security, where if Danaher leaves, they just play him at full forward and he'll be on the same amount of money, you'd think, especially with Danaher leaving, and he'd be on maybe a bigger contract. So does that equate into Cox's thinking? Collingwood have said that they want to get back into, the first or second round of this draft. Does letting Cox go, well, one, it opens up our salary cap, and two, does it potentially give us a first or second round pick? I'm thinking early second round for this season. Not sure if they're thinking for next season, but they do want to get into it this season. So it is up in the air. According to that report by Sam McClure, both teams are far off each other in terms of the actual trade. So who knows if it eventuates. Cox is happy at Collingwood, so I don't see it happening. But if it did, my thoughts would be that I wouldn't be too bummed about it. Yes, great player, he can rip games apart, but those games are too far and few between. Is that the saying? Probably not, but we'll just run with it. So would I sacrifice him for a second round draft pick this year or next year? Yes, we do need them. We need to get back into the draft. Our first pick is like 35 or 36 or something ridiculous like that. So we've got to get back in early. The second piece of trade news that has been blown out of proportion is Treloar to the Gold Coast Suns. So there was a report that came out yesterday that said Collingwood asked Gold Coast back in July if they were to ask for their number one pick, what would they want for it? Gold Coast came out and said, we want Adam Treloar. Collingwood said, no, but let me ask Treloar. Treloar said, definitely not, don't even worry about it. But according to that report, Collingwood ummed and ahed a little bit, before they shut it down. But also according to that report, we signed a contract extension keeping Treloar at the club for another 6 years. So he'll be there until 2025, which is huge. He's the only player on our list that has such a big contract at the moment. It's like 6 years now. So that's never going to happen. It was never going to happen. But you have to ask the question. Imagine they said, you know, you go to Gold Coast, who do you want for pick number 1? They say Cox and Josh Thomas and 2 future first rounders or something like that. You say, sure, let's do it. But, you know, they say Adam Treloar, Taylor Adams and Scott Pendlebury. You say, no, don't worry about it. So in this off season, this silly season, you do just ask the questions. Nothing eventuates. But if you don't ask, you'll never know. So the last piece of off-season news, it's not a trade news, it's not free agency news, it's not contract news, it's coaching news. So as you know, Justin Longmuir went to Fremantle, signed a contract with them for 3 years as their head coach, so he's now out as our defensive coach. Jared Rivers left the VFL head coaching position to take up a position at North Melbourne, so that position's empty. So now Collingwood this morning announced the changes to our coaching panel, and it looks like this. Gary Hocking is now coach of our VFL side, and Matthew Boyd takes that vacant position as a defensive coach and becomes our assistant coach after serving 2 years as a developmental coach. Scott Selwood, former Geelong player, is our new developmental coach after getting delisted by Geelong, and according to the Collingwood website, he's going to be an academy developmental coach, so working with the young players to become better people and better footballers. So with that, our 2020 coaching team has been finalised. So, that was just a quick catch up. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.